my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we are talking about Gallant by V.E Schwab. I've got a bit of a funny story to tell you about this book before we get into it. So, for the past year or two, I've heard a ton of people talking about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Some people that I know loved it. I know two people that just loved it so much. Some people thought it was okay, lots of varying opinions, and I kept meaning to pick it up and I never did. I'm sure I will at some point, but I just haven't yet. Anyway, the other day I was watching this video on YouTube. I can't remember whose video it was, or I'd link it below, but she was talking about her most anticipated horror reads of 2022, and she mentioned this book. And in it she said she had heard it be described as a cross between The Secret Garden and Crimson Peak, which I will say is an accurate description. So immediately I got on it. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get on this new V.E Schwab book so I don't have to hear everyone talk about it and not know what they're talking about. So it arrives, I start reading it, and I start getting, and honestly, the fact that it was just compared to The Secret Garden should have tipped me off. But I start reading it and I'm thinking like, is this book for adults? So I go to Goodreads and look it up and just see what it says, and technically it's a YA book, which is fine. I still read it and I still loved it. But yeah, it's not a book for adults. I mean, obviously adults can read YA. YA is just not something that I typically gravitate towards, just a personal opinion. The other day I was trying to think of why that is, and I think it's because a lot of YA books have teen romance, and that's not really something I'm interested in reading. But there's no romance in this. Anyway, first of all, let's look at how pretty the cover is. I think it's beautiful. You have the two houses, the title. I was really loving the cover. Plus it's square instead of rectangle, or kind of square, which I really liked. And I think it's just gonna look beautiful on the shelf. Anyway, so let's get into it. And before we begin, don't let the fact that it is YA put you off. If I had known that beforehand, I probably wouldn't have ordered it, but I'm very glad that I did, because like I said, I enjoyed it a lot. Let's get into it. I don't think there's going to be any spoilers here, because if we got into the spoilers, the last 50 pages alone would take me forever to try to describe to you, because a lot of things happen. So we're just going to kind of do a general talk about it, spoiler free. So this book is about a young girl named Olivia. And Olivia is, I think she's probably around 13 or 14. I'm guessing. Maybe 14, 15, I don't know. I don't know that it says. But she was left in an orphanage when she was 2 by her mother. And it's an orphanage that sort of grooms young girls to be ready to go and work in other people's homes, in rich people's homes, as maids, servants, things like that. Or if they're really lucky, to become a wife for somebody. But Olivia, she's mute. She can't speak. And she's got a bit of a temper. And they're just kind of like, I don't know where you're going to fit in. So the thing about Olivia as well is that right off the bat we learn that she can see spirits, and the first couple of times it's described, it really spooked me, because the way she describes them is the dead thing. She can see the dead thing, and it's very casual the way she mentions it, because for her it's been happening for most of her life. So like she'll be, the first time I think she's in the garden shed and she's like, oh, she's doing whatever, and then the dead thing. And then at one point she's in her room eating a snack and she can see a dead thing sitting on the bed next to hers. So she's pretty well accustomed to it. And at one point when she was younger, in sort of a reaction of fear, she tried to reach out, sort of swipe out at it to get it away from her, and she learned that her hand passes right through, so that brings her a bit of comfort, because she's like, okay, I can't touch them, so they probably can't touch me either. And in time she learned that, you know, she thought to herself, for the ghoul or the spirit, she refers to them as a ghoul sometimes. If she thinks to herself, like, please go away, they will. They'll listen to her. Because as it's later mentioned, you know, these spirits were people once, and they don't really want to do you harm. They're just there, and they don't really know why they're there. So she's at this place, and she has no family. You know, her mother is gone, but she was left a journal with her when she was left at the orphanage. And she has read this journal so many times that she knows it by heart, every line, every word. And there are drawings in the journal as well, and which you get to see. You get to see the drawings in the book. Let me see here if I can find one for you. The drawings are absolutely gorgeous. Just very beautiful. And they're scattered. They're scattered throughout the book. I hope that's focusing. So there's this journal, and for the first part of the journal, she can tell that her mother is writing sort of to someone, which she later puts together the pieces that it's probably her father who she's talking to. And as the journal goes on, the entries sort of become more and more unhinged, leading up to the mom leaving Olivia at this place. And in the very back of the journal, there's a message directly to Olivia from her mother saying, "The dreams can't hurt you. You'll be safe as long as you stay away from Gallant." And we come to learn that Gallant is the estate, like the grand manor where her mother grew up. Time passes, we get to see a bit of Olivia's time in the orphanage, and then eventually she receives a letter, and this is sort of the inciting incident for the story. She receives a letter from Gallant, from an uncle that lives there, and the letter basically says, you know what, I've been searching for you your whole life. I've sent letters to every orphanage I can think of in the world, and I don't know if this will be the one that finds you, but I hope it does. Please come home. We love you. We miss you. You have a home here. And so with that, the orphanage is like, pack it up. It's time to go. And literally she's sort of ushered immediately to get her things packed. They give her a little suitcase. Off she goes. And there's a car waiting for her outside. And that car takes her to Gallant. Once she arrives there on the doorstep, you know, the door is opened up, and nobody has no idea why she's there. She quickly learns that the uncle who she thought wrote to her, this might be a little spoiler. So if you don't want even little spoilers, skip ahead about 30 seconds. Okay, so the uncle who wrote to her couldn't have wrote to her because he's been deceased for a while. And in the house are only 3 people, Hannah and Edgar, they're staff of the house, and then Matthew. He is her cousin, the son of the uncle who could not have written to her because he's been passed. And of course that leads to the question of, if he didn't write to me, then who did? And from there the story just really takes off, and I thought it was a fabulous adventure. The whole time I was reading it, I kept thinking of how much I would have loved it when I was a teenager. I would have loved this story when I was like 12, 13, 14. I would have absolutely loved it. And that being said, I still did. I thought it was beautifully written. The illustrations were so lovely. There was just a lot to enjoy about it. And I can't wait to be able to pass it on to like my niece and nephew when they get a little older and would be at the age where it's appropriate for them to read it, because I just think it's a beautiful story. I could see in time this becoming a sort of new-ish classic. And I thought it was wonderful. There's, you know, once she moves into the house, there's a ton of ghosts there, because everyone in the family, once they pass, they go home. So eventually she runs into all kinds of dead things that are family members, some who she may or may not be very happy to see. And she learns about her father, she learns about her family, she learns about how she was conceived, what happened afterwards. Everything is told to us, and it's just, I thought it was beautifully written. I thought it was so great. And Matthew, the cousin, I think he's a really great character, because when she first shows up, he is livid. And he's saying things like, no, like, no, there's no mysterious cousin. I was told by my father I'm the last of the line. There's no more after me. I'm the end of our family's lineage, which is like a weird reaction to have when you're, you know, being introduced to a cousin you didn't know existed. And as time goes by, we find out why that is very important to him. And it's not because he has any distaste for Olivia or sharing the home or, you know, anything with her. It's much darker, much deeper than that. And I thought it was great. So that's just about where I'm going to end it for now, you guys. So again, like I said, don't let the fact that it's YA put you off. If you liked The Secret Garden, you'd probably like this. It's definitely got some of those Crimson Peak elements as well, with the ghosts in the house, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful story. Bless you, Trixie. It's a beautiful story told beautifully that I think anyone could love. And I definitely do. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day or night, wherever it is, whenever it is when you're watching this. And I will see you again real soon. Bye.